Matt here from Tour Physio Performance, and today I want to take you through a longer video on some strategies to get those hands up overhead. Are you somebody that has a hard time getting those hands overhead without maybe arching that back, or maybe you can't even get there at all? Well, that's going to cause a few different problems in your golf swing, and the two things that allowing yourself to get those hands up overhead and working on this will allow you to get some consistency, and it will also allow you to get some speed. So if we're really tight in our lats or in our overhead mobility, it's going to be hard for us to be in a consistent position where we stop the golf club every single time as we go down into through transition, So if I'm really tight, sometimes I might not get my hands up as high as I did on the previous swing, or that's going to cause some variability to where my hands are going to get in this position. And it's also going to cause some variability in the transition. So sometimes I might have to go quick, sometimes I have to be a little slower depending on where my hands stop in the backswing. So that's the first thing. Number two is having freedom and fluidity in that motion, is it's going to allow us to get a longer backswing. So if we think of like a Justin Thomas position, he gets his hands really high in the backswing. What that allows him to do is that gives him a longer runway down into the golf ball to create more speed. So being able to fluidly move those hands and get in the same position and to take a longer swing are the two biggest reasons why it's important for us to get those hands overhead in the golf swing. So what we're going to need today is we're going to need a foam roller, yoga block, and a resistance band. I'm going to take you through 4 different exercises. We're going to do 2 exercises to try to create some mobility and that overhead mobility, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go through 2 exercises, and we're going to use that range of motion that we just created to try to own and strengthen that range of motion that we just freed up by using the foam roller. So first thing what we're going to do is we're going to do some extensions over the foam roller. Get that upper back moving a little bit. So I'm going to go on my butt here, and I'm going to have foam roller just below the shoulder blades. From here, my hands are gently behind my head, supporting my neck, and we're going to arch that back up and over as far as we can, that roller, and then come back. We're going to go through 5 there. Once I get to 5, what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll the foam roller up about a few inches this way towards my head, and then from there, I'm going to go for 5 more. So after I get through one set of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to this foam roller. Now I'm going to roll out my lats. The big key is when we're rolling on these lats is make sure you actually are hitting the muscle belly back here. You're not just crushing on this rib, because it can be uncomfortable if you're really tight in these lats. So some people have a hard time telling the difference between if the pain is because they're hitting their ribs or if it's just because the muscle's tight. So make sure that you reach back here and try to feel that muscle in the back of your ribs. That's where you want to put the roller down. So make sure we're actually hitting the lat. So from there, what we're going to do is we're going to put my body weight on it. I'm just going to roll up and down. We're going to stay on here for about a minute. But there's going to be certain areas that are going to be a little more uncomfortable than others. What I want you to do is I want you to hang out in that area for about 10 seconds, making small motions back and forth before you move on to the next. So you're going to hit the other side as well. You're going to go back and forth between those 2 exercises until you get through 3 sets. After we finish the 3 sets of that, we're going to use that mobility that we just created and that range of motion we just created to go through a few different strengthening exercises. The first exercise we're going to do is a prone wide lift off. So what we're going to do is I'm going to be laying down with my stomach here. I'm going to have my arm fully extended out in half of a Y position, and I'm going to have my thumb up in the air. From here, my head's going to be down, thumb up in the air. I can use my other hand as a little pillow here, and then from there, I'm trying to keep that arm straight. I'm going to lift that arm up as high as I can, and then relax back down. Not just coming up and dropping right back down. Try to own that position at the top for a second, and then come back down. You can go through 8 on that side, switch over, make sure you hit 8 on the other. Then you're going to come on over here to your resistance band that you have tethered to a pole, and we're going to work on. From here, we're going to come up, just a little bit of tension. From there, my elbow's the same height as my shoulder. I'm going to externally rotate, and I'm going to reach up in the air. And the key is, as you're reaching up in the air, don't lose the position of your ribs. So rotate, reach is a good rep. What a bad rep would look like is you rotate, and to reach, you arch your back up in the air. So you're going to go through 8, you're going to switch over 8 on the other hand, and then you're going to go through 3 sets of both of those. Stick with that routine once a week for a month, 2 months, and see if you can really get those hands up overhead and see what that does to help you in your golf game. If you have any questions, as always, please reach out. We're always glad to give you a hand.